Hey everyone, and welcome to part 2 of a Mark II vs Mark I weapon guide in GTA Online. It's been a very long while since the last part, so I'm happy to bring this series back. In this part, we are going to compare the stats of the Mark I Combat MG to the Mark II Combat MG. Before we begin, I just want to say that these stats were found entirely from in-game testing, so they may not be 100% accurate, and you may get slightly different numbers if you run the same tests. Also, these tests were done with all possible attachments equipped on each weapon because logically, you wouldn't just run around with no attachments or a lack of attachment on a certain weapon. I plan on doing an in-depth guide on the different attachments to see if they make any stat changes to the weapons in the near future as well, so keep on the lookout for that. I also want to give a huge shout out to Thanos for helping me record this video. It was very nice of him to take time away from his Fortnite appearance to help me out. Now, let's get into the stats. So the lock-on range of the Mark II and Mark I Combat MGs are both 65 meters, and they both have a max range of 120 meters. This almost seems like a standard for most weapons in the game, at least for the Special Carbine Mark II, because that weapon shares these exact same stats, and others will be tested, of course, in upcoming parts of the series. The damage on both variants are equal at 8 bullets to kill from optimal range, and they will both kill in one shot to the head with no bulletproof helmet on, at a maximum of 28 meters. I should also mention that this is tested on someone with a max health stat fully upgraded. Where things start to differ is the distance that the damage drops off. For the Mark I Combat MG, the damage drops off to 9 shots to kill at just 56 meters. The Mark II Combat MG's damage drops off to 9 shots to kill at 80 meters. This range increase could be due to the heavy barrel attachment, however, since you wouldn't use it without all the possible attachments equipped, it's included in the testing. The rate of fire on each variant is also equal, which I calculated to be around 514 rounds per minute. Since we know the bullets to kill and the rounds per minute, we can now calculate the time to kill using the formula 60 divided by RPM times BTK minus 1. 60 divided by RPM will give us the time in between each shot fired in seconds, and BTK minus 1 accounts for the bullets to kill. The reason it's BTK minus 1 is because there's no delay in the first shot that you fire, so you wouldn't count the delay for the first shot. Plugging everything in, the time to kill comes out to be a whopping 0.82 seconds. Just to give you a little perspective on things, here's a list of every Mark II assault rifle's time to kill, and here's the Combat MG's time to kill. The Combat MG's time to kill is about 0.3 of a second faster than every other assault rifle in the game. Not to mention that the damage drop off on the Mark II Combat MG doesn't occur until way after the lock-on range, so that's going to be your time to kill for pretty much all ranges that you're going to be using this weapon. If you find yourself getting melted at longer ranges, this is most likely the reason. I always say that the Combat MG is the most broken and unbalanced weapon in the game. Well, here is the proof. And last but not least, we have the accuracy test, and this only brings out more reasons to prove why the Combat MG is extremely overpowered. So right here is the Mark I Combat MG spread. I ran a test in third person on the left, and in first person on the right. The third person recoil actually makes it seem like it's pretty balanced. Lots of power in the weapon, yet horrible accuracy. But then you look at the first person test and the physical recoil just goes completely away. And then running the same test on the Mark II version, the recoil is even less in third person than it was in the Mark I, and the first person recoil and bullet spread is so tiny that it's pretty much like shooting a laser beam at your opponent. Here's a side-by-side comparison of all 4 recoil patterns labeled so you can clearly see the accuracy increase from the Mark I version to the Mark II version, and the differences between the first-person recoil and the third-person recoil. Let's recap a bit. So, on the Combat MG Mark II, you have an extremely fast time to kill, remarkable optimal range, and extremely tight accuracy. And you can shoot 200 rounds before reloading if you have the extended mag. I can't even put into words how unbalanced this weapon is. And you can make it even more powerful if you use BST because it'll become a 4-shot kill instead of an 8-shot kill. That is extremely overpowered. And this is the reason why all you see tryhards use is the Combat MG in first person mode with their BST because it's so broken. Anyways, that's going to be all for this video. If you enjoyed or found it helpful, feel free to leave a like as well as subscribe to my channel for more guide and PvP related content. Comment down below what weapon you want to see me cover in the next part, and as always, thanks for watching and have a great day.